Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're well, people. Genuinely, I hope you're well. Not that I don't normally mean it, but you know what I mean. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you so much for turning up. Constant surprise, I got to be honest. Thank you very much, people. We have a thing for you lined up today. We've got a doing the thing towards the end of our time here. It's a slightly unusual doing the thing as well, so do stick around for that. It hasn't come from the shelves. And it was a Christmas acquisition as well, and it is quite unusual. And it's right here. The doing the thing is right here. Shall I try? I'll give you a quick. There we go. There's the doing the thing. That's it. That's all we're showing, and it's not a book. Um, you can hear me. Good. Do you know what? Probably should have checked. Yeah. Good. You can hear me. Good. 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 Let me just turn the desktop audio on as well, so you'll get some game noise as well. I've been fiddling around with my, not because of the live stream, but I've just been messing around with my game audio and desktop audio a bit this week, which is not something I do terribly often if I can possibly help it because of the live stream. So if that's odd at any point, do please let me know. How you getting on? So as you probably know, we're in the UK. The UK has gone into another lockdown. I think this is our third. I'm losing count now. This is our third lockdown. The COVID cases nationally are absolutely tragic. Really, really dreadful situation. Locally, we've always been in quite a lucky position in that we're sort of stuck at the tail end of the country. And it hasn't affected us much down here, but it has started to affect us a little bit in this, more than a little bit actually, in this area. We've seen a huge spike in this area, so we're very locked down in this house at the moment, very locked down. I hope, however, I will say I literally this morning, one of the first things I read on the news this morning was that the case numbers nationally are apparently starting to plateau, which is the lockdown starting to come into effect. But we have still got a rough period to go through because the government decided that we didn't need to lock down for 2 days over Christmas or whatever it was. So we had a right spreadathon as a nation, and then we've locked down again. For anyway, let's not get into that. I hope you're well, people. I hope your personal situations are good, as good as they can be. Yesterday was a rough day, wasn't it? Yesterday was a rough day. Can I just ask, is anybody in the chat today who plays habitually on console, plays the game on console? I wish there was anything at all that we could offer you. Do you know what I mean? I cannot tell you. You know, I don't want this. I PM'd at least one prominent console player yesterday before I went to sleep at the end of a long day, um, and I didn't want it to sound like empty platitudes or anything like that. But I genuinely, and I know Ree feels the same. She's over there, by the way. I know Ree feels the same. We play on PC, so it's not really going to affect us in that regard. But we are absolutely gutted for the console players. Absolutely gutted. I understand completely why Frontier are in the situation that they're in, and I understand the corporate decisions that they have to make. And it's not about anyone not caring or not thinking, for want of a better expression, that console money isn't as good as PC money, because it's all money as far as Frontier is concerned. The decisions that they have to make don't come down to that at all. But yeah, we were gutted. If there was any way that it could not be like that, and that the PC players could just wait for everyone to be on board so that we can all take this next big step, no pun intended, together, I'd grab it in a heartbeat. Honestly, we were really upset yesterday. So, what happened on console, says Mazda. Mazda, there have been delays introduced to the Odyssey release schedule. Now, up till this point, nobody really knew what the Odyssey release schedule was. All Frontier had ever said was early 2021. But that's quite a long window. As far as we were concerned, early 2021 is basically January to June. So no one really knew what that meant. It looks like the PC version has been delayed, but it still, as far as we're concerned, it still looks like it's going to be early 2021. The console version, however, has been pushed back to autumn, I think is the official line, isn't it? Autumn is the official line. What that window means, that's, you know, we're guessing that's probably a 3-month period leading up to December, but we honestly don't know. And, you know, video game development schedules being what they are and the world being what it is, we're kind of assuming that it means November, December for consoles, which is just rubbish. Awful, just awful. So yeah, there isn't a good way to go. The pandemic is obviously the primary cause. There's probably a bit of, you know, a bit of extra work required to get Odyssey up to a level that Frontier are happy with on things like PlayStation 4s and Xbox 360s, which are, you know, are older hardware at this point. So I'd imagine there's a bit of not trouble, but a lot more work there required, I suppose, just to make it look good and run good. So that's all piled in, but with the pandemic on top, then it's just stuffed everything, frankly. So yeah, the end. Yeah, I know the PC players will be to test it for you, and a lot of the bugs will get worked out, I'd imagine, throughout the development process. So it probably does mean, to a degree, that the console players will get a better version of Odyssey. But I'm sure majority of them would rather just have Odyssey. So I don't know. They don't want a rubbish one, obviously. They don't want it. You know, they don't want Cyberpunk or whatever the last release disaster was before that. But I'm sure they'd rather just get their hands on the game. But there we go. It is what it is. Did I say 360? I don't. Do you know what, Wintermute? I'm so out of the loop. I know where I am with PlayStations, right? Because it was PlayStation, then PlayStation 2, then PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. We've had all of those in our living room at some point, and now I know that it's PlayStation 5 because it's the one that comes after 4. I understand the progression there. The Xbox, I've got absolutely no idea what in God's green heaven Microsoft is currently calling the Xbox. I literally don't know what the current Xbox is called. I'm 52 and I don't have time in my life for that. Just call it the next box, or I don't. You know what I mean? The Xbox naming convention drives me insane. It just drives me up the wall. I don't get it at all. So yeah, probably, I don't know. Was the last one called the Xbox One? Because that makes sense, didn't it? Because it's like the third or fourth, or I don't know. Ah, thank you, Savidian. That makes me feel slightly better. I suspect you're not confused if you're an Xbox player, but if you're not an Xbox player, you know, you just look at it and go, "I'm quite savvy with games." Do you know what I mean? I'm not a serial old duffer, but even I just look at the Xbox and go, I don't know. I have no idea what it's called. I think I literally said on one of our videos recently, because it makes me so angry I couldn't be bothered to look it up. I think I literally said whatever the Xbox is currently called. It just drives me up the wall. Yeah, as Rini says, in actual fact, there is a I can't speak from personal experience, but I have been told by people who can speak from personal experience that if you put an X on something, it sells better. So, you know, you'll often see things called, Apple have discovered this with I as well, right? But if you put an X on something, if you call it the blah 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 X, it makes it sound more manly and macho, and I don't know. People have to have it because it's got an X on it, and so I think Microsoft is now on a quest to get as many X's on their Xbox as they possibly can. I'm just trying to think what the Roman numeral is for 2X's. What's the Roman numeral for 2X's? Do you know? What number is that? 20. I bet they can't wait for the Xbox 20. What a day that'll be. Xbox Y. Why? Because you have to. 57 Thorns. Should we do some hellos? We haven't done any hellos yet. Hello, Siren Farseer. How is Australia while I talk to everyone else? 57 Thorns is here. Savidian is here. Elfina99 is here. Hello, Manix. How are you? Commander Rini's right there. There was a hello there, but I don't think you heard it. Wintermute is here. Hello, buddy. Zenaki is here. All right, mate. Phil Barnes is here. Lucas Barina is here. There is no way I'm going to get to all these names. Quiz Engines is here. Quiz Engines. There's multiple Quiz Engines. Stu is here. Hello, mate. Sound FX68. You're right, buddy. Welcome, people. Welcome. Yagashura is here. Tragic Blue is here. Please excuse the side of my face while I read a list. This is why you join, isn't it? This is the good stuff. Did I say Phil Barnes already? Andrew Perslow is here, and is Butter Stone's Throw. Butter Stone's Throw from Australia. I know that isn't true, but it makes me laugh because, you know, you're basically on the same side of the world, aren't you? So, C6 Sailor. I hope that clears up for you, mate. Arian McDade. All right. Josa. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Right then, shall we move on? Wow. Thank you for turning up, people. Incredible. We're going to do some of the general's good work today for the Burian Protectorate background simulation. Now, instead of picking up missions, I'm going to have a go at running... I should have checked this ship, actually, to see if it's actually got any decent cargo space. I'm going to have a go at running some cargo into an area where we could do with a degree of influence. I've been told by the good general's notes that I think he said Bertrandite. I should check that, but I think we need some Bertrandite, and I think Wilson Port in Tawanta, which is our home station, will flog me some Bertrandite. What did you just say? Okay, Reese just said there is a joke in there somewhere about burrs and Bertrandite. I find that very hard to believe, and I don't think any of you should explore those possibilities now. And I know, now that I've asked, now that I've very specifically asked that you not explore that particular thread of comedy, I know that you won't. So that's good. I can feel reassured in that. And I'm afraid to look at the chat. It is Bertrandite that we need. Can confirm. So, I know you don't care about this stuff, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I've parked somewhere slightly different in Tawanta to where I normally do. I normally park, and you'll find most people in Tawanta park their carriers at Tawanta A2. That is Tawanta there. I've parked at Tawanta A1, which is a gnat's ankle away from the star in celestial terms. But I've decided to park. I don't know why. I thought it might be quite fun when I was coming in from hyperspace if I saw my carrier go zooming past. I don't know why I thought that would be fun, but it might. So there's everyone else, and there's me. I like to think of that as exclusive parking. It also means I've got to fly a lot longer to get to Wilson Port, but it's not far. It really isn't far, as you can see, which is one of the reasons we chose this system. Of the 3 systems that we had as an option, this was system number 1. So I'm going to grab some Bertrandite. I need to work out where I'm going to go with it. The system of Vasir, and I'm told that Reynolds Colony is where I need to drop it off. Also, there are only medium pads in Vasir where I'm going. It's one of those pain in the bum systems that has no large pads. So the my T9, the Thunder Chicken, will be staying safely snuggled in the carrier today. Would you like some Stan Cam, by the way? Should we do that, or do you just not care about the cat? I won't put the cat on until I hear that you want cat. I had a Discord message then, and I wouldn't normally check that, but I did need to check that one, and it was okay. It was nothing I needed to worry about. Where have I put the thing that I'm currently looking for? Right, it's there. Okay, good. Loop of shame. Here's today's first loop of shame. That is because I was not concentrating. Alright, shall I put some Stan Cam up? Thank you for spelling my name deliberately wrong, Yagashura. I know that want cat. Look at that. Cat, yes, cat. We're not here for you, Burr. It's the cat we're interested in. We don't care about you. Look at that, for goodness sakes. We don't care about your stupid video game and all the rubbish pouring out of your head. What we want is a dopey ginger cat that will not move for most of the stream. Hang on. That should hopefully be... There we go. Right, he's... Okay, I'm going to give you a close-up of that. Let me just get into... Let me just get into Wilson because he is, isn't he? One of Stan's great habits is face planting. What he'll do is he'll go to sleep somewhere. He'll mash his face up against whatever it is he's sleeping next to, and literally is like that. And Stan has very diligently decided to give you a face plant this morning. So let me just let me get you a good view. This is the stuff they want. This is why people are here. Hang on a minute. Right, let's give maximum Stan. There we go. So there is a face planty Stan. If we're very lucky, what that normally causes, Stan snores. Those of you who are regulars to the stream will know that Stan snores quite a lot. If we're very lucky, that's the wrong one. That's the one we want. Yes. If we're very lucky, Stan will have a right snore later on. The face planting very much tends to enhance everybody's snoring experience. Often gets quite tuneful and very loud. So he spent all night like that last night. This is what it's like living with a cat like Stan, right? He spent all night like that. He got up this morning. Shall I tell him what he did in his food bowl? Okay, I won't say that then. He did something unpleasant in his food bowl, but so he obviously had something to eat. Decided that food was surplus to requirements, but let's not go into that. Yep. And then wanted to go out. So we let him out first thing this morning. I think he was out for, let's say, an hour, if that. And then he came back, and now he's asleep again. And he'll be there basically. I reckon he'll probably be there for until about 1, 2 o'clock maybe. Then he'll maybe go out again for about an hour, and then he'll come back, and then that's him for the day basically. That's his entire day. Cats will sleep for about 18 hours a day. Apparently Stan will sleep for about 47. If he possibly can. Squid, I think. Where's Squid at the moment? Is she out or is she in? Squid is the almost exact opposite end of the cat spectrum. She is an absolute nut job. A complete psychopath of a cat. I've no idea if that's a decent price for Bertrandite, but I'm gonna go with that. Shall I see if have we got any more room here for... Let's have a quick look at this ship and just see if there's anything else we could do. I'm sure I've probably got better ships for this task as well, but I wanted to bring some armaments with me because it makes life more interesting. Let's have a quick look in... No, I don't want that. I want that. Let's have a quick look and just see if there's anything else I can't do. We've got some more cat beds turning up, haven't we? Unless this turn into the cat stream, but, you know. Stan is the man, says Mannix. He is. He's very much... yeah, he's very much... Of the two cats, he's very me. Me and Stan are very... we're like that, really. I'm dopey as well. And Squid is a psychopath, very much like Reenie. You can sit there and laugh, but we both know it's true. Could get rid of the SRV bay. Not sure that it's worth it for the extra it would give me. Cargo bay. Nice big fat prismatic shields. Cargo bay. Nah, let's just go with that. It'll be fine. I could lose the... I suppose the frameshift drive booster is not awfully required for what we're doing at the moment. Let's do something about that. Okay. Can I do anything about that at this port? Good old Wilson. Yes, I can. Buy. Stick it in storage. Okay. Let's see what that does for us. Bertrandite. Bertrandite. That's a bit better. That is not too shabby.
At maximum capacity.
So what we're looking for here, I think, as far as my understanding is, trades are not good enough. It's got to be profitable trades, I believe. If I'm incorrect in that regard, I'm sure someone, Yagashura, will correct me. So I don't think it's not good enough to just deliver what they're after. I think you need to be in profit to do it, but I could well be wrong. But what we're looking for is to increase our influence and general well-being in that system. Reynolds. There we are. As in Malcolm, I'm going to say that is. I've no idea if it is a reference, but the fact that it might be a reference makes me happy. So that's what we're saying is fact. Who is that? Hello, Swoop. Are you coming with, mate? I'll tell you what. I'll chuck you a wingy. And if that works for you, accept it. If it doesn't work for you, that's absolutely fine. Skillfully avoiding that Luger. Lovely, look at that.
Frame shift drive charging.
Okay, I don't know how many jumps I've got. 2. That keeps it interesting, but not dull, I would like to suggest. That's hot. What have I done there? That's very hot. That's just... oh dear. That's not good at all. Let's just stop that. What's caused... oh, is my... did I do that? I haven't done anything. That's weird. Oh. Do you remember? You must... it's a good job you can't Twitch, you can't grab stuff and replay it on YouTube, isn't it? I enjoy that about YouTube very much. Those of you who watch this stream regularly, and when I say watch, what I mean is suffer through, those of you who watch this stuff regularly will remember I said a few weeks ago that I needed to move the button that puts me in silent running. Because I keep boiling the ship, and the more observant of you will now notice that I haven't yet done that. So that's good. The problem I've got is if I move it, because it's always been there, it's either on insert or delete, and I can't remember which one, and I'm not going to push it now. But if I move it from either insert or delete, wherever it is now, I will forget where it is, and then I'll accidentally push it again and boil myself silly. Let's try that again. 147% is not a personal record, but it is one I'm quite proud of. It's not a... yeah, it's not a... yeah, that's a good idea, Barry. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it, won't it? Any spaceship that you can't cook an egg on the dashboard isn't working properly, I'd like to say. Okay, Yagashira, selling at a loss bad. Don't do that. Gotcha. Thank you, Swoops. I will enable some bacon. Bacon. Now I want a bacon sandwich. Just in case it's useful at any point. There is the target. Quick check to see if the ship's boiling. It isn't. Good. Give it some of that for what difference it makes with prismatics. Oh god, they're agony, aren't they? Come on, we've all done it. It's a gift. It's a genuine gift. I'm very excited to show you this week's Doing the Thing. I'm always excited to show you the Doing the Thing, aren't I, to be honest, but this week's it's a little bit unusual, to say the least. It was a gift from the Reenster. And it's also a thing that I didn't know existed, so that's always good. And it might be, I'm just trying, I think the Lego robot was quite nerdy, but it might be the nerdiest thing we currently own. I mean, it's really geeky. You know, most people you can put a Star Wars figure up in front of them and they'll know where it comes from and why it might be important to a person of my generation. But this one is like a lot of, you know, it's really, really nerdy, which just makes it all the better, quite frankly. Even its nerdiness is nerdy, for reasons you will understand, hopefully, when I show you. Oh, hell! You can't blame that one on me. I was in the mega meter range, and it didn't do the thing. That should have done the thing, and it didn't. That one's not my fault. A little bit of a loop of shame just there, Ree. Sorry, victory lap. Sorry. There we go. It's weird, isn't it? I almost feel like when I first dropped in here, I thought, oh wow, it's going to be fascinating to have a look around these places at some point if we get the chance. But I almost don't want to mention Odyssey now, in case it upsets a console friend. Isn't that awful? I can't hear you. Oh, I see. Slam Dunk. Ria's very kindly pointed me at your question. Hello, Morlock. Yeah, Mazda, I have a similar talent in that regard. By the way, the snoring, I can wake my neighbours. I'm that good at it. Slam Dunk, do I think these delay announcements will put more pressure on FDev to release a quality product given the extra time they've had? I don't think it will put. I don't know. I don't think it will put more pressure on them as such. I know it's often easy to be flippant about how game development companies work and how you think they might think about what they're doing. I think they'll feel pressure to produce a quality product, whether I'm selling, aren't I? This is what happens when I try and multitask. I think they'll feel the pressure to produce a quality product, whether it's late or not. To be honest, mate. I don't think they'll feel any more pressure. I think if they release, obviously if they release Odyssey after what equates to possibly a year's delay for the console people, and it's a pile of old worms, then I think the splashback will be breathtaking. I'm sure they're aware of that, but they would never, they wouldn't aim towards that, and they certainly wouldn't be. No, I can guarantee you, no one at Frontier is looking at the lead time they've now got for the console development schedule and going, right, we can rein it in a bit now, and let's phone it in for a few months. That's not going to be what's going on there at all. So, and it is. I've heard a few people sort of say that it's beneficial to them to delay the console launch because they get 2 marketing pushes and all that kind of thing. I'm not sure that that's true either, because marketing pushes cost money, and I'm sure they would rather everybody went on the journey together. And I'm sure as many of the developers themselves would rather everybody was going all at once. When I talk about the developers, I'm talking about the individual human beings that work at Frontier, not the corporate entity at Frontier, because corporate entities aren't capable of independent thought. But the individual human beings that work very hard on this day in, day out, because they like, Elite, and they like video games, and they enjoy working for a company like Frontier, I'm sure would much rather everybody went on the journey together. So yeah, I don't necessarily know that they'll feel more pressure. It's just, I think it's really sad, isn't it? It's just but given what's going on in the world at the moment, it's a bit of a first world problem, isn't it? But I'll just wait here for swoops to get done.
Frameshift drive charging.
Make sure my shields are actually up this time. They are. Good.
Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Yeah, I agree with you on the crunch thing, Mazda. Yeah, I really hope they don't get into a situation where that is an issue. I want to say before all the pandemic nonsense kicked off. I don't know where I think I know this from, so I don't know if it's even true. So please excuse me if I'm talking complete rubbish. Um, but I want to say that Frontier kind of had a policy of no crunch where possible, but I don't know how true that is. Um, Josa, I would love it if I thought there was even a rat's chance in hell of that gaining any traction whatsoever. Uh, I would absolutely be on board with it if I thought there was even a slight chance that they'd even consider it for one moment, but unfortunately that just isn't the way large companies work. I tell you one thing I did think that was painfully evident. Hello, Bagfather. One of the things that was painfully evident was I think the decision that we got yesterday had pretty much only just been made. So again, I saw comments from people suggesting that they'd known this for a while and that this is why they hadn't done this or this is why they hadn't done that. And certainly, as far as the community management team were concerned, I think the reaction that we saw from them yesterday would seem to imply that this decision, whilst it might have been in the offing, it had literally been made. Monday morning, Tuesday morning, or something like that. I think because the CM team had plans, and those plans then got canned, and have been thrown completely into the can, for want of a better expression. Barry, I don't think that's the case at all. No, no. The consoles and the Apple platforms are two very, very, very different beasts. Macs are not geared towards gaming or gamers at all, and I would imagine the amount of traction that it. I always thought it was an odd decision to put it on the Mac, to be honest. The amount of traction that the game developed on the Mac would have been extremely limited, whereas something like a PlayStation is obviously built just for gaming. So I don't think that's the case at all. No, no. We were having a conversation in this house yesterday where we were wondering if not with regards to Odyssey at all, but whatever comes after Odyssey, so I don't know, 3 years down the line or whatever is the next big expansion, how much strain that upgrade, whatever it happens to be, is going to put on a platform like the PlayStation 4 or whatever the hell the Xbox is called at this point, and whether they'll have to not drop Elite from the platform, but whether they'll have to drop that part of the expansion, because they are in a position where they can sort of segment their Elite's quite weird like that, in that you can segment the access that different tier holders have to different parts of the game, but because it's a shared universe and a shared background simulation, we can all still affect the game in our own different ways, if you see what I mean. So someone who up until this point didn't own Horizons, up until the free, obviously the upgrade recently, the fold down or whatever the corporate word for it was. If someone didn't own Horizons, but I did own Horizons, we can still work on the BGS together. One in two very different fashions, but still have the same result. So I would imagine going forward that will still be the case. But whether the PlayStation 4 and it's the Xbox One, isn't it? Yeah. Whether the PlayStation and the Xbox One, is it the one? I'm sorry if I just got that wrong. Whether they'll be, I have to keep a sticker up there. Whether they'll be able to keep up with whatever 3 years down the line from now, whatever the next big thing is, whether they'll be able to keep up with that or not. I don't know. I don't think it means that Elite will disappear from the platform. I think it just means they won't get that tier, maybe. But at that point in a console's life, how many people were actually clinging on to that ancient level of hardware, if you see what I mean? I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but PCs get upgraded, consoles get upgraded, That's just that is the way of things. I had Yoda popping into my head then as well for a weird reason. That was odd. That is the way of things. But it's not the way of the Force. It's the way of consumerism and technology advancing, which doesn't roll off the tongue at all in the same way that Yoda. He would have delivered it better, but backwards. What am I buying? Ree's laughing at me now. Yeah, that really did run away. It really did. I don't know if you've noticed, people. Sometimes I just open the front of my head and stuff pours out. That's basically what these are. I'm trying to find Bertrandite, aren't I? Where am I? Am I even at Wilson Port? I'm trying to sell. What I want to do is buy. I can hear the look on Jagger's face.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
There we go. Right. This is the way, says Joe. So yes, absolutely. On that subject, actually, let me just catch up with comments real quick.
Landing gear retracted.
Ship uncoupled. Maintain correct lane on exit.
Okay, I didn't realise that, Karen. Dropping Mac support was entirely on Apple. They dropped OpenGL, which ED used. I didn't realise that. Yeah, I think it's true that Apple probably favours mobile gaming. Mazda saying in 3 years the game would have to be remade in a newer engine. I mean, I suppose the only counterpoint to that is that Frontier use their own engine for almost everything they do, if not everything certainly everything they develop in-house. And so what we see with I've forgotten where I'm going. What we see with Elite is a constant evolution of the same engine, or what you see with Frontier games is a constant evolution of basically the same engine. So it might not be a case of them switching engines, but it might be that the evolution of the engine at that point they might not be able to keep up with, if that makes sense. Just make sure I'm not cooking the ship again. Sorry about the delay there, Andrew. I'm rambling, as you're probably acutely aware. Yeah, Mazda, I agree. Certainly this current version of the engine would be showing its age at that point, yeah. To be honest, you could argue that it is already, really. It's quite lucky that the environment in which the game currently operates is slightly more forgiving of a lot of the graphical flourishes that gamers have come to develop in the 7 years, I think, since this game was originally released. So that all changes when you start introducing things like plants and atmospheres and animals and fur and saliva and gnashing teeth. I don't know if they're going that way at all, but you know. You know what I'm saying, I'm sure. Elfina, just say whatever the Xbox is called. Yeah, I don't want to seem disparaging to the Xbox platform at all. I'm sure it's a fantastic machine, but their naming convention does drive me up the wall. And they're only doing it, I think, because they want to differentiate themselves from the PlayStation. Like, consumers are that stupid that they don't realise that. I suppose some consumers might be, but they don't realise that, you know, a PlayStation 3 would have been the same generation as an Xbox 2 or something like that. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. I don't understand why they would have gone with Xbox One. What is that even? Also, when you see Xbox One, I don't know about you, I just see Xbone. That's all, you know, when they do X1, Xbone, XB1, it's just, you just see Xbone. It's like, maybe it was a Friday night meeting. Maybe they were just eager to get out. I tell you what really kind of compounded. What am I? Oh hell! This is because I'm talking and thinking at the same time. There we go. We're only 167 kilometres away from where we wanted to be. I think that went very well. Stop laughing, Ree.
Charging.
I can't remember what I was going to say,
3, 2,
but it was great and we all laughed.
engage.
Are we going to get... Oh, no, please don't tell me we're going to get sidewinders now. We are going to get sidewinded, aren't we? We have significant Braben tunnel happening, people. Oh, I see Swoop Dog. That's good. Okay, good. That's excellent. I think it was waiting for Australia, is what that was. I really should have pushed drop then, and I didn't. What was I going to say? That's so annoying. This might be a personal record for Loops of Shame, by the way. You enjoying that over there, are you? Here we go. Here we go. I got it that time. There we are. This is why you come here, isn't it? Honestly.
Docking request denied. Docking request denied.
You can keep your exegesis. That guy's got nothing.
Docking request denied.
Good. Thank you very much. Really saying something about competence. I can hear her saying words, but I'm not really listening, to be honest. Someone said this is the way. Right, so that was Joe, wasn't it? Thank you for reminding me, Joe. Did you see the Ubisoft announcement yesterday about them developing an open world story-based Star Wars game, and also Bethesda? Siren saying, but we're ahead. Technically speaking, you were waiting for me, I suppose, then, weren't you? And also Bethesda developing an Indiana Jones game,
Request denied.
because that was really, really interesting. Not because I'm terribly excited about those games, because you can't really be excited about them because you don't really know anything about them yet, to be honest. But you know, obviously the potential's there.
Docking request
I think
denied.
what was
Docking
what was
request granted.
absolutely fascinating about that was that EA no longer... Don't you think there's an irony, by the way, in a company like EA making games about the Empire? EA no longer has a
Landing gear
a
deployed.
complete stranglehold over AAA Star Wars games, and I think for gamers and for Star Wars, that can only be a good thing, in my humble opinion.
Docking successful.
I think it's
Engines disengaged.
if you're being generous, I think it's fair to say that they haven't perhaps made the absolute best of that license in the time that they've had it. My understanding from a little bit of research that I did yesterday was that they were due, or they are due, to kind of lose their exclusivity agreement with Lucas. We're selling Burr. They're due to lose their exclusivity agreement with Lucas in a couple of years anyway. And I would suspect that the games that we saw announced over the last couple of days, didn't want to do that, the games that we saw announced over the last couple of days are probably a year and a half, 2 years away from release anyway. But they are now under development. The Star Wars one in particular, I do happen to know, is in very, very, very early stages. I think they're still recruiting a development team and stuff like that for that. So that's very early days.
Ship release.
I've no reason to believe that Bethesda one isn't in the same boat. I'm going to guess that there are a number of reasons why Lucas has chosen to not renew that arrangement with EA, not least of which is, if you remember the loot box debacle from, I think it was about 3-4 years ago now. It was when the latest version of who's just jumped in, and are you doing what we are doing? That is Yagashura. I would imagine you are, or you're here to pirate us. Definitely one of those.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it was, I suppose, that EA has, not that they've lost the exclusivity, because the contract, I believe, was due to expire anyway, but the fact that Lucas have chosen to not renew it and not pursue that relationship to that degree again, and have thrown, to all intents and purposes, I believe they're throwing the doors open to just about any developer that wants to develop on the for Star Wars if they can obviously prove their chops. Which means I think you'll get a varying degree of quality of Star Wars games, but also it means you'll get a lot more variety and perhaps a little bit more imagination and some more risks taken maybe. EA is famous for design by committee, and I think when they're dealing with a license like Star Wars in particular, that really stands out quite painfully. So I was overjoyed as a frankly nearly lifelong Star Wars fan to hear that relationship was not coming to an end but being changed, because I believe EA are still going to be developing for Star Wars. They just lost their exclusivity. But the loot box scandal has got to be a significant part of that, I want to believe. Not the only contributing factor, but I know Disney were extremely vexed by the very bad publicity and the word gambling and predatory being used, or the words gambling and predatory being used around, don't you dare, being used around one of their bigger properties. And that has got to be part of the equation at the very least, I would have thought. So like I won't say I'm excited about the Ubisoft game. That would be wrong, because I don't know anything about it yet. I'm you know, and Ubisoft themselves are not, you know, they're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I would be interested to see what a company like Ubisoft would do with that license for sure. And we'll certainly be keeping an eye on it to see if there's anything there that could entertain us as a family. As long as it isn't, you know, Battlefront 9 again. Ugh. And it isn't. I think the other thing I think we're probably likely to see is that whilst Ubisoft themselves, you know, have employed, let's call them surprise mechanics before in their games, I would imagine one of the stipulations of Disney, of a relationship with Disney going forward, is that you don't do that. I would think, but I don't know. What's a Crystal Xbox Wintermute? Is that a special edition one? Yeah, Mazda, I get what you mean. Not excited because, you know, Ubisoft. I understand that completely. It wasn't so much the fact that Ubisoft had it, but the fact that it was now the exclusivity is gone and it's available to other people to do something with. That I think is worth getting excited about. Joe said that Bethesda announced that they were doing an Indiana Jones game, I believe, but we don't know any more than that at this point. This is probably sacrilegious, and I apologise unreservedly, but there's never been a Bethesda game that I've particularly enjoyed. I don't think it's not because they make bad games. They might do. I've looked at all their games and gone, nah, that doesn't appeal, and never bothered. But you know, I like sitting in a cockpit and flying spaceships and aeroplanes, so I understand why that might be the case. So I've got no personal experience. Where I'm going with that comment is I have no personal experience with Bethesda, really. Bertrand, I'm buying on
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
I understand that they're gaining somewhat of a reputation for being a buggy mess on release. Is that the case?
Landing gear retracted.
Mazda because it is gambling and predatory. Indeed. Yeah. Yes, Mazda, I understand completely why you would be passionate about that as well. Yes, it is. It is quite unpleasant and very wrong. Particularly when it's aimed at, not that it's any better when it's aimed at parents, honestly, but when, you know, when it's a game that is accessible by kids, that makes it even more unpleasant and even more morally bankrupt.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Campaign for Battlefront 2 was utter trash. Yeah, play for the Empire. This is the thing, isn't it? Like, when LucasArts originally had,
Fuel scooping.
I don't want to say creative control because obviously they've got creative control, but in the pre Electronic Arts days, and back in the golden days of X-Wing and TIE Fighter, you had games like TIE Fighter where you didn't play as the Empire for 10 minutes and then realised the error of your ways and changed to the good side. You played as the Empire and you did everything you could to smash the rebellion, which I'm well up for.
4, 3, 2,
Who doesn't want to do that? You know, it's the yin and yang is nice, but sometimes you just want to yang the rebellion's face off, don't you? For being so goody-goody. Death Star them. It's ridiculous that, like, I haven't played them personally because they've just made me want to vomit into me socks. But it's ridiculous how many times I think EA have done a game where you start off playing as the Empire. Big haul like that. Surprised you made it this far, says Edwards and Son. That's awesome. They sound like a removal company. they'll interdict you, drop you out of Super Cruise, and they go, "Can I help you with that wardrobe? You look tired. Let me get that for you." Now the thing is, do I let them catch up with me and gnaw their face off? Unyielding demon in a python. That's not going to be a nice person, is it? Shall we see who that is? That's Des Gorman. Got a name like Des Gorman, but a ship called the Unyielding Demon. Oh, there's Edwards and... Oh, wow, it's a Type 10. Oh, dare we? Shall I? Ree saying yes, that's because she wants to see me die on stream. Jagger, I'm really hoping the stream's caught up. I'm just going to try and keep the Type 10 entertained for as long as I can until the other two ships in my wing catch on to what is currently happening. I've lost them. Where are they? They're behind me. That's not good. That is not good. Let's just keep Edwards and his son entertained for a few minutes whilst the wing catches up. Because it's a Type 10 and it will be funny. He's going to get bored and go away in a minute, isn't he? Ree, can you just tell me if Jagger or Swoop says anything? Okay, there's Jagger. Here we go. I'm going to let them get behind me. They'll probably get interdicted and killed by Yagashura long before they have a chance to interdict me, will they? Hang on, let me help them a bit. There we go. Come on, it can't be that hard. There we go. Braben Tunnel. I can see 3 hollow squares. I'll try and get the... I can't bring the other hollow square in. Could someone else help the other hollow square if they want to come in? Now, for a removal firm, I'm finding your tactics somewhat aggressive. I'm not going to lie. This is not what I've come to expect from the service industry. That's a lot of guns. That is a huge amount of guns. Good heavens, how unpleasant. Hello, whoever that was. I'm so glad that's Yaga. I'm so glad you're here. I really hope you're not here as a spectator. Okay, definitely not spectating. That's good. That's very reassuring, Yaga. Oh, my gun stopped firing. What's going on there? Yeah, I've got pips. That's really weird. I don't know what's happening there. That might be my... It looks like my joystick playing up. What's going on there? Am I being stupid? I lost like Greek. Really? Yeah, that is such a compliment. That's awesome. I get it. That's what he does. Do I do that, Ree? There are worse things you can be called than Greek from The Last Starfighter. That's awesome. That's a film you've not seen, is it, Ree? I wish we could sort that out. I wish there's some way you'd agree to sit through that. It's a beautiful film. In your face, removal company. Get yourself some materials, Yags, because I haven't got any limpets and I can't be bothered. And I know you find that appalling. No idea what happened to my guns there. That was very weird. It wasn't a pips thing.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
So rarely get attacked by a T10, I find. I don't know if that's just the routes I tend to travel and the stuff that I tend to do. Thank you for your assistance, Monsignor Yaga of the Shura. It's Zoffy! Oh my god, let's bring Zoffy. I've got an intentional loop of shame coming up now. Let me just grab the Zoff. There we go. No pressure, Zoff. If you want in, mate, it's there. There we go. We are now a fully winged up Zoff group. This is a personal record for loops of shame, intentional or not, by the way. Landing at this ridiculous little port is now going to become quite stressful.
Docking request denied.
You might just be watching the docking request denied stream now. There we go. Let me have a quick look at chat while we wait. I laugh like Greg from The Last Starfighter. Thanks, Abriel. It's such a good film, isn't it? Honestly, it's not many science fiction films of that era that make me well up at the end, but The Last Starfighter. This is one of the worst things about streaming is you start admitting stuff like this. Does anybody else get a bit emotional at the end of The Last Starfighter? Because it is lovely. They're trying to remake it or reboot it, aren't they? I think they're trying to sort of. I know Gary Whitta, who's number one, a huge Elite Dangerous fan, an ex-writer for PC Zone or Crash, I think at the very least, if you remember that magazine, and also PC Gamer for years in the States he worked for. He's an English bloke, now lives in Hollywood, or lives in America at least, and works in Hollywood. He was one of the original writers behind Rogue One and things like that. He's gone on to be a script writer since. I know he was very, very into getting The Last Starfighter off the ground again. No pun intended.
Docking request granted.
I don't know where that current project is in its development, but when Elite Dangerous first went into Kickstarter, it was Gary Whitta that pulled David Braben and Chris Roberts into a video call with each other and interviewed both of them because they were both kickstartering and funding their respective games at the same time. And it was Gary Whitta that conducted that interview.
Engines disengaged.
Just because he wanted to, not because he was doing it for a magazine or anything, but he knew both of them and wanted to have a chat and was very excited, which I think is lovely. I remember seeing that interview and just having a complete nerd out, just amazing. Being a big space simulator fan of old, X-Wing in particular, Free Space and X-Wing were my thing. Being a big space simulator fan of old, seeing those people sitting there chatting and refloating projects when the big publishers wouldn't give that kind of thing the time of day. Hello, Steve Axe, mate. I'm so sorry we've got a full wing, buddy. Yeah, getting those people in particular sort of trying to refloat the genre essentially. And someone like Gary Whitta, who was then involved with Star Wars, talking to them was just brilliant. Couldn't quite believe it. Oh, what am I doing?
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, I remember seeing that interview at the time and thinking I just could not believe that space simulators were coming back. We're not only getting another shot at the big time, but we're doing it outside of the big publisher circles. It was just the creative minds behind a couple of the bigger franchises of the olden days, and they were doing it completely off their own back and outside of the publisher loop, so that you couldn't have an EA or an Ubi or whoever messing it up and getting it wrong.
Frameshift drive charging.
Compromising the face off of it, stuff like that. And it was amazing. Battleground 2 is free on Epic from tomorrow. Oh, that's the Battlefront, you mean, quiz? Is that right? The first-person shootery thing. That's worth grabbing, if only because it's a AAA Star Wars title and it's free. It's definitely worth grabbing. I think the online experience is what it is, and if you like that sort of thing, it's great. But if you've got slightly more custard-like reactions like I have, then it's fairly unplayable on a public server. But there's a single-player game there, and you get to see Death Stars blow up and stuff like that. So yeah, and what the hell, it's free. So definitely grab that if you haven't already, people. Which freelancer had Clive Owen in it? I don't know. Did Clive Owen do a freelancer? I know Mark Hamill did one, didn't he? Not a freelancer, but was it Wing Commander? Oh my god, another loop of shame. My god. It's your fault, people. It's because I keep looking at chat. That's what it is. It's a nice problem to have. Yeah, Mark Hamill was in one of Chris Roberts' games before, wasn't he? I'm sure. I would very, very, very much like to see a Mandalorian game done well. I don't know what I'd like to see from it, but I'm quite enjoying that universe at the moment. Or that part of that universe, if you see what I mean. As far as Star Wars is concerned, I always much more enjoyed the background, if you know what I mean. I was never that enamoured with the Skywalker saga per se as I was the universe that it was set in, and all the stuff that's going on in the background. That part of it I find much more interesting. Andrew, thank you so much, mate. No. Thank you for joining, buddy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a good one, mate. That was reckless, young man. Has anybody actually noticed if I'm making money doing these doing these trades? I haven't been paying any. I know you'll find that hard to believe. I know. Just go with it. I have not been paying any attention at all to whether we've been making money or not. I'm sure. I think I should. Didn't I see some profits from Zoffy come up? So that would seem to imply that we're probably doing okay. I'm sure Zoffy and/or Yagashura would have chided me by now for damaging the organisation that has my name above the door yet again through incompetence and stupidity. You're welcome, everybody. IMDb says Clive Owen was in Privateer 2: The Darkening. Okay. IMDb says a lot of things, though. It doesn't mention me when it talks about Star Wars, but I distinctly remember being there. So, thank you very much for that, Ree. That was extremely supportive and encouraging. Just got a barely concealed in your dreams. She might have added ugly pants on the end as well. No, she didn't do that. She didn't do that. Privateer 2, okay. And his career's just gone from strength to strength after that, hasn't it? I need more cargo space. I do, Wintermute. I don't generally use this ship for what it's doing now. It's got cargo space, but it's not really what it was built for. If I'm running cargo, I normally use the Thunder Chicken, which is a Type 9, which I adore more than a man should love a Thunder Chicken, honestly. But it may well be my... I don't want to say my favourite ship. It's right up there with the wobbly rocket, but my elite experience is the wobbly rocket. So the Thunder Chicken's right there with it, though. It's kind of like that, you know. The wobbly rocket is the ship that I took to Sagittarius A with a 13 light year jump range. Fully armed with a 13 light year jump range before I knew what I was doing. Because I now know what I'm doing, believe it or not. I don't. Yaga knows what he's doing and I just ask him, really. I promised to not loop of shame this one and to pay attention and see if we actually make any money. I'm fairly certain we are making money. We are making money, aren't we? Someone reassure me. Steve Axe, if you're still around, I'm going to attempt to send you a wing request, but there is absolutely no pressure whatsoever to accept it because I don't even know if you're doing what we're doing. But I don't want to come across as rude. So, there we go. It's there if you want it, mate. And if you're not listening to the stream currently, I'm basically shouting out of the window at my neighbours. So I'm sorry about that. Everybody. Ah, cool, okay. Wintermute has retrofitted his Python for cargo missions for the Dark Wheel. Yaga doesn't know if we're making money or not. Yaga, you are my brains. What's going on? The Dark Wheel should be making some serious program some serious progress. Surely, I would have thought. Are we doing another loop of shame? We are, aren't we? Because I wasn't paying attention. Hello, Sir D. You're right, mate. It may appear from what's on my screen at the moment that General Zoff is parked on the station, but I can reassure you that General Zoff doesn't park on stations. Stations cling to General Zoff. That's just science, that is. It's a very useful and very capable ship, your Python, isn't it? I believe they are, Alec. Yeah, hello, mate, by the way. I believe they are. Yeah. I know Kai has been talking about their Sol test system. I'm not really sure what a Sol test system is. I don't really know how you can test expansion into Sol, to be honest, because it is quite unique. And I'm personally of the opinion that it's not achievable, but I'm really glad that they're trying it, because at least then we'll know my opinion won't be an opinion. It'll either be fact or disproven, which is wonderful. So I'm glad they're doing it. 509 is where I really want to see that initiative head, however. Is it LFT 509? It's LFT 509, isn't it? It's entirely possible that getting influence close to 509, I didn't notice if we made any money then. So that's good. I still wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I've got no idea if getting the influence of the Dart Wheel close to 509 will unlock anything, or 509 itself at all, but if it does, wouldn't that be a thing? That would have been basically sitting there pretty much since not day one, but certainly quite early into the game. That would have been sitting there waiting for people to work it out. Which anybody who's only just started playing Elite, a lot of the early game was all about that. Was all about working stuff out, working mysteries out, and I haven't actually chosen a hyperspace destination, so that's good. Well done, Burr. Yeah, a lot of the early game was about working stuff like that out and discovering things, genuinely discovering things. And I am firmly of the belief, I'm sure Frontier have kind of hinted that there is still stuff out there to be found. It's a big galaxy, right? So there's got to be something. If there's, I suppose it's a given really. If there's a permit lock, and we can't find out how to unlock that permit, then there must be more stuff to find. I'm absolutely convinced 509 has got something waiting for us. I don't think it's going to blow the doors off. I don't think it's a Stargate or anything like that. But there is, it's going to. I think it will probably be more BGS and a bit more faction reputation that's waiting for something to be added to the game. So don't get horrendously excited, but I do think it's waiting there.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised by that, Mazda, actually. Yeah, that's entirely possible.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Phil, the Sol test site is the system from which we will attempt expansion into Sol. Okay. Winterview, I absolutely knew what Invalen's name was. Wow. Yeah, and then after Sol, they're heading to 509. Yeah.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
No, I don't think that we. Yeah. That'll definitely put a different spin on the game, wouldn't it, if we find the Goa'uld? Like, oh! We'll be PMing Frontier trying to find out if there's any way we can get rid of a system permit. I think we're going to stop at Wilson Port here, and we will roll out doing the thing. Does that sound like a plan? I don't know how many loops of shame I've done on this stream. I think it's about 87, something like that. I definitely think it's one of my personal records, this one. I did do a stream, I think it was the last week or the week before, when I didn't do any loops of shame at all. I know, right? Yeah. I found it quite upsetting, to be honest. Yaga says there's a mission requiring my attention. Where's he said that? Oh, I see. You sure he's not talking to you? Okay. Is he said to you, can you tell the bee? Shout to the bee. There's a mission requiring his attention. Is there though? Oh, I see. Okay, I see what he's done. I didn't know. I literally didn't know what he was talking about. Thank you, mate. Have I just bravely completed that mission by not doing anything? Okay, we're back at the glorious Wilson Port. So, brace yourself for face cam, people.
Incoming message.
Has Stan moved? I've not looked at Stan. Is he actually still where he was? Oh, that's great. Look at that. Hello, Commander. We understand that you assisted in the completion of a contract for us. Yes, you understand incorrectly. Also, that system name, that's station name's offensive. Did I just win? Okay, I did, didn't I? I've got to go back and hand that in then. Thank you very much for that, Yaga. That's very kind of you. Right, face cam coming up. Brace yourself. All right. Oh, Yaga's look. Oh, okay. Yaga's looking a little less face planty and somewhat more squirrely. Right. So this is this week's doing the thing. What did I say, Yaga? Who did I say Yaga to? Did I say Yaga's less face plant? Did I? Sorry, everyone. See, I'm confusing Yaga and Stan. That's because they're probably both ginger. I've no idea if... Is he ginger? Yeah, he is, isn't he? Stan looks black and white there, but he isn't. Sorry, Yaga. I'm now confusing you with the cat. Not really sure what that says. So, this was a gift from my lovely wife. I don't know how to introduce this, so I'm just going to show you, okay? Brace yourself. This is... it's not what it appears to be. So what it appears to be, if I can show that to you, there we go, is a VHS version of the fantastic, ecologically aware, pre-Star Wars science fiction classic Silent Running, which if you've never seen, my God, sort it out because it's amazing. So it appears to be it would appear to be a VHS version of that on a, let me just get it out of the sleeve here, right down to the fact that even, wow, on camera it really does look like, that's amazing, but it is not a VHS version of Silent Running. The box even looks aged and a bit tattered on the corners, like it's come from a charity shop or something, but it isn't. That's deliberate. It's actually brand new. It's brand spanking new, and if you open what appears to be a VHS video, it is in fact a Blu-ray version of the film, together with an hour-long documentary which I haven't watched yet because I'm trying to find the inner strength to subject Ree to it. And it also contains a couple of postcards. So there's Bruce Dern playing cards with one of the drones. And if you see this film and you've never seen it before, if you see it, you will immediately see where R2-D2 came from. It's one of those types of films. That is a dead astronaut being buried by some robots. Spoilers. Also, you'll see quite a lot of Elite Dangerous in there as well. For example, this is the movie poster, by the way. That there is a domed forest, which you will see all over Elite Dangerous. They are everywhere. Wintermute, I wish, yeah. There's a Joan Baez song that Wintermute is referencing. If you want to talk about science fiction films, where we were talking about The Last Starfighter before, science fiction films that have you welling up at the end, Silent Running will absolutely level you unless you haven't got a soul. It's the ending of the film is an absolute killer, due in no small part to Joan Baez's wobbling tones at the end. Graham, please go and buy it for Commander Siren. Oh, wow. Could I be thinking Jagger is cute like a cat? No, he's more hairy. Hairy and a bit scratchy. Siren, that's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, a lot of people will turn around and tell you that Silent Running is their favourite movie. It is a beautiful film. It really is a beautiful film. Very much a film with a message behind it as well. It was ecologically aware, I think, before ecologically aware was a thing. The special effects were by, I want to say, Douglas Trumbull, who was also one of the special effects people behind 2001, and also he went on to do a bit of Star Wars after that. The Star Wars influences are quite evident in it. Yeah, it's an amazing film, and the ending will absolutely level you unless you have no soul, of course. But yeah, there we go. So that is this week's Doing the Thing. I say this every week about whatever it is I'm holding up, but this is far and away one of my proudest possessions. I think it's absolutely incredible. I love the fact that it's such a geeky thing, but also it's then gone out of its way to be as geeky as it possibly can by trying to look like a VHS tape in a tattered box. But the box is actually really, it won't come out on camera, but the box is actually really, really smart and completely undamaged in actual fact. But it's printed in such a way that it looks like it's damaged and creased, and it just everything, it looks like it's got actual damage on the and all that is printed. All the damage on there is actually printed. It's actually completely pristine. So it's deliberately weathered, which I just think is cute as hell. The whole thing's incredible. Even the VHS label has been worn down, but it isn't worn down. That's the way it's printed. I just think it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Where on earth Ree found that, I don't know, and I don't want to know. I just want to own it. I just think it's incredible. Douglas Trumbull directed Silent Running. There we go. Thank you, Wintermute. It is a lovely film. Yeah, if you know the BBC film reviewer Mark Kermode, it's I believe his favourite film. Certainly his favourite science fiction film. It's become a sort of a cult classic, a much overused term, but it is an absolute cult classic. New format VHS, yeah. So there we go. That's this week's Doing the Thing. And I'd like to think at this point I've renamed my carrier Valley Forge. Do you know what, Quiz? It did occur to me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I think I'm always going to be. It's always going to be the Burrs Cave. But the temptation to name a ship Valley Forge, but I just can't bring myself to do it because there's probably a million of them. Are you going to... Oh, Stan's going to give you a quick wave. There we go. I would like to call that a guided flop, really, is what that is. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. It is always a pleasure to see you, and an absolute constant privilege to have you turning up. So thank you very much for that. If you're not aware of our main channel, you'll find us on youtube.com/theburpit. This is our second channel that you're actually watching at the moment. Those of you who very kindly joined me for the flight simulator stream about a week or two ago that had some horrendous technical problems, I think we've got on top of those now. I think that is resolved. I've done a couple of streams of flight simulator online but offline, so private, so no one can see it happening, and then gone back and looked at it, and they've been absolutely fine, no problems at all. So we know what that was and what was causing it. So I think we've sorted that now. So if you're into that stuff, do watch out for that. There'll be more incompetence, but with worse consequences off the back of that. We are trying to find time to do some other stuff as well. I know we've got a very busy weekend ahead with Elite as well, so watch out for that stuff. If you're not in our Discord already, it's linked below. And they're a lovely bunch in there. Everybody who's in chat today, almost to a man, is in that Discord, and it's a wonderful, friendly, warm, encouraging, supportive, brilliant, funny place. Do please join if that's your thing. Is there anything else I've missed? Is that it, I think? If you're not subscribed to this channel already, because a lot of people don't actually realise, believe it or not, that there are two Buur Pit channels now. This is the Buur Pit Plays. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up, because that stuff really helps, even if you were deeply offended by the number of loops of shame. I'm sorry about that. I do try. As I say, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back next week at this time, at the very least, with another Elite Dangerous live stream, and I will try and do another live stream, time and frontier willing, between now and then, to do with something else probably. So take care of yourselves, wear a mask, take this stuff seriously. I do wish you safe travels, people, and we will see you very soon. Have a good one. Bye, 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 bye. Where's the off button? It is that one.